All right, this is SFBarkast. I'm Jeff Cleary.
I am Andrew Lauder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We are at 24th Street Bar. How's that for a name?
What street's it on?
I don't know. It's some kind of bar, I think.
Yeah, and it's on 24th Street in the Mission. Jesus Christ, Andrew, we have to get out of the Mission at some point.
I know, yeah. It's hard. It's you get trapped. You go out and it pulls you back in.
Exactly.
Or actually everywhere else sort of pushes you back in.
Exactly. Well, we're also very lazy, and I live around here.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's on 24th and Bartlett, I think, like between Mission and Valencia.
It is the site of the old attic.
Indeed.
Which the attic used to be this sort of, venerable neighborhood bar that
a bit of a legend
everybody seemed to love, so it had to go.
Exactly. Yeah, it seemed to be frequented very much by poor comedians and in need of a good dive bar, and then that was taken away from them.
Yeah, so there was like this legend that there was a neighbor here who was a lawyer, and he or she would, I think it was a she, would just routinely call in noise complaints.
Great.
And it's like one of those stories where it's like, oh, I lived right next to a bar, but I didn't know it'd be noisy.
Right. It's like these people have folks in there drinking every night until 2 a.m. I had no idea.
Right. So anyway, we're here, and it's the new incarnation. I was just talking to the bartender, and I was asking him, because it's kind of got that feeling where it's like it's well designed on the inside.
Yeah.
So you start to think like maybe this is like there's like some money behind it, or it's part of like the bon vivant, so there's some other version of those douchebags.
It's weird. Like when I first walked in, I kind of liked it. Like I was like, oh yeah, like it's it's very very standard. Sort of decor. Like it almost, the more I look at it, it sort of looks like if you took like the Rick House, and said like make a cheap version of that. I mean it. I don't want to
Yeah, give it a shot.
I don't want to be
man.
too mean to it.
You just got here, dude.
I think they lose points because like one of my pet peeves is the whole like craft cocktail taking forever thing. And when I walked in here, like the guy was like just stressed out looking, and there's like one other person in the bar when I walk in, and the bartender looks like he's stressed out of his goddamn mind making a cocktail, and I'm like this is like exactly the kind of thing I don't want to be around, is like some guy that I'm standing over and being a lazy asshole, but and I feel like the jerk for coming in and like ordering a drink.
And if the listener thinks that Andrew seems uniquely warmed up to make that argument, it's because we just got back from being interviewed on Radio Valencia.
True.
That's right. We were interviewed.
That's right.
So,
as I told my wife, I think we've decided to graduate from an internet platform that has maybe only 4 or 5 people following us to a internet radio platform where another 4 or 5 may follow us.
Exactly. So we're on our way. Okay.
Double digits. Here we come.
Start kissing up to us now. But it was really fun. Steve Courtney was the host of. I forget that he has this really long name for his his music show.
Yeah,
I really want to thank him because clearly when we were talking to him, clearly he's like, it's mainly a music show.
Yeah.
And out of the kindness of his heart, he's like, let's let these two assholes come in and talk about getting drunk.
I have to give a shout out actually too to the Illogical Contraption podcast that were at Sketchfest, and I'd heard their name, and I know that they have a very popular podcast actually.
Well, before we went on air, you asked Steve how do you know about us, and he said the guy from Illogical Contraption.
Yeah.
And then the look on your face was like, whoa, that's a nice.
It's a real feather in our cap.
That's a good podcast.
Yeah.
And so we felt good about that for 45 minutes?
Yeah, I think.
And then he called
riding a wave of that, and
then he called in and told the story, and go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah, so basically, maybe the first or second night of Sketchfest, I went to, we went to one of the after parties, after all the shows, and I, in the process of, being at the party, I lost my my badge, my name tag that gets you in all the stuff. And so, according to this guy from Illogical Contraption, they were at the same party, and I think he was with somebody that didn't have a badge, and would of course love to attend free shows and go to the parties. And so they, lo and behold, found my badge on the ground and proceeded to impersonate me for the rest of the festival, getting his friend into stuff.
Yeah,
but then, as and after doing that, he probably felt so guilty about it that he listened to our podcast, looked us up on the schedule or whatever, and and then said he really liked it and recommended it to the Radio Valencia guy. So,
well, I mean, it's good. Like I forget his name. Is it Corey?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Corey. He's the host, and so he called in and told us that story.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we had about 45 minutes thinking that like he listened to our podcast. I was like, dude, you could have just called in and said you were a fan. It's like basically for like 45 minutes we were thinking, wow, this guy is really like he listens to our podcast. We're really making it. And then we come to find out, no, he just picked up Andrew's trash.
Exactly. Like, hey, I found your name in the garbage and I listened to your podcast. It was really good.
You become very well recommended from shit I found on the street.
So anyway, like shout out to those guys. Shout out to Radio Valencia.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun at Radio Valencia.
Yeah.
It's weird because like when we first started doing the episode, which is going to be all the episodes are available for download. So I think in like a day you can be able to listen to that.
Yeah, we'll send a link to it or whatever.
So before we were kind of sitting there, and then you can kind of tell Steve is more like a music angle. Like he was kind of like, I didn't do a lot of preparation, and I was like, that's okay with us. We're the same way. And usually the first segment, it's kind of like you're feeling it out,
yeah,
like trying to
grinding the gears.
And then like the second segment, we're just like sliding down that hill. It's great.
It's hard to get people to talk about bars in like the city they live in, right?
Well, exactly. Like once, like you're kind of like, oh, you guys recording bars, eh? What's that like? And it's like all, and then the next thing you know, we're just like
he's playing like snooze sound effects, morning zoo stuff. Boring.
Why do you keep putting that boing? But like, yeah, once you get going and you start talking about bars that you like, bars that have gone, bars that have turned into other bars,
right?
And then everybody's got a fucking story,
exactly.
Like, and then
the hard part's just getting everybody to shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm talking here, okay?
More plugs for the Barcast, less stories about you.
And then his cohort, DJ Deathwish, showed up, and we started talking. DJ Deathwish showed up late because he was hungover. And so then one of our things we'd like to do is talk about hangover cures.
Right.
And
this was an interesting angle on it.
Yeah. The one I like, and if you want to listen to that, you can go and download that. But we're not going to rehash it. But the one hangover cure that I heard recently,
was drugs, by the way.
Was from another internet DJ. I forget her DJ name, but let's just call her Amanda. But she was saying that. And I've never heard this one before, but like before you go to bed, you take a B12 vitamin.
Okay.
And then when you get up, you take another B12 vitamin. And then supposedly your hangover is gone.
Right.
I mean, like, there's few things that I feel like I should dedicate the rest of my life to. But like curing the common hangover.
Right.
Like, I mean,
without like a mound of cocaine or whatever.
Yeah, or without
whatever DJ Deathwish recommends.
Without cutting back on your drinking, because everybody I interview who said, and I ask, what's the best hangover cure? They're like, stop drinking. I'm like, okay, what's B?
That's right. What's the second best?
And like people seem to say, okay, drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water while you're drinking.
Right.
Drink a lot of water before you go to bed. And the other one is and it's totally counterintuitive because you're so hungover you don't want to do it. But like if you exercise,
right,
for like an hour, you break a sweat for an hour.
That's where I draw the line.
Exactly, Andrew. You knew there'd be sacrifices.
That's right. You lost me at exercise.
And I guess that works pretty well. I mean, I've never put that to the test.
Another public service announcement on SFBarkast.
I'm like, how about sitting on the couch and watching TV? Does that work?
It does.
It seems to work for me.
It takes about a day and a half, but it works.
Yeah, so this place used to be the attic, and man, like when another subject that was brought up on the Radio Valencia was what's the worst like bar restroom in the city.
And
the attic, the attic had one. Woo! Oh my God, did that have a bad attic? I mean, sorry, it did have a bad bathroom. It was like one of those things where it's just like, holy.
So do you think that they just like tore this place down to the studs pretty much, like, and then replace the studs?
Yeah, I think they had to like give this whole place like a Silkwood shower just to get all the dank out of it.
It was like that. It's like an ET when the house was tented. Like there's like just guys walking around in big hazmat suits.
Well, I wonder if that legend is true about like the neighbor who was like a lawyer who wanted this place closed. Like,
yeah.
So now what? Like, the attic is gone. She probably did a little victory dance, and now it's a new bar.
Right now.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just a legend.
Could be. So we lost Nancy Reagan this morning. I don't know if
we did? I didn't know I did.
Well, there we go. Breaking news to everybody.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but I mean, she's pretty damn old. She's like 94 or something. But and she was like a wacky old lunatic that believed in astrology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Like that's one of those it's one of those celebrity deaths. You're like, oh really? It's probably for the best.
Right. Well, I love that. Like I remember, I think it was like 8:30 this morning, and they like broke into like Stephanopoulos or whatever, and like of course they immediately have like this taped package to like it's like how long ago did you make it's like they're making references to like Eastern Airlines and stuff like that, and companies that haven't existed for 20 years.
Somebody told me one of the exercises they make the kids do in journalism school is write obituaries for people who are still alive. So like you can imagine
write one for the teacher.
You can imagine how many fucking files of like ready to go obituaries for Nancy Reagan they had.
Well, I wonder like how many people are there like obituaries written for that the person that died but they were no longer famous, so they never published it. They were like, who cares?
Like, that goes into the fire.
It's like, oh right, said Fred died, big deal.
Yeah, okay.
File that in the yeah, exactly. Send it to Who Cares magazine.
Have we had any other celebrity deaths recently? George Kennedy,
right? One of the best parts of the movie Modern Romance.
He was in Modern Romance.
Yeah, he was like running down the hall like where they had like King Kong noises or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think we've kind of taken a break on like really tragic celebrity deaths.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that's dying currently is the American political system.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Right.
The one good thing about this bar is they have 2 televisions, and they have just like the Turner movie classics on.
Oh, what are they? I just saw the name Tony Randall. Like, are they?
They're starting some movie with Rock Hudson and Tony Randall. Send Me No Flowers.
A Martin Melcher production.
Tony Randall, gay or not gay?
I don't think he was. I
don't think he was.
Because like it's funny. I was listening to some other podcast, and they were talking about how you could play a game called like super gay or super like womanizer, like where it's like these guys like you're kind of like, oh, is that person gay? And they're like, no, like he like
no, he fucked.
Like, yeah, like I think the person they got started with was like Kurt Loder. They're like, yeah, and people are like, wait, Kurt Loder's not gay? And they're like, no, he's like a big puss hound. Like, it's like,
is that true?
It's like, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, or you could do the other thing where it's like, yeah, because like if it's like gay or like puss hound, as you so eloquently put it. But like there's that other thing they were talking about this on the Dana Gould Hour about like Liberace, where it's like he had everyone convinced that he was just like this confirmed bachelor that like just hadn't found the right woman, and he's just that was the code, right? Confirmed bachelor. It was like confirmed bachelor. It's like
when will Paul Lynde find the right woman?
Right.
Like, as soon as she grows a penis.
Dana also said that when Liberace was dying of AIDS, he had lost like all his weight. He had put it out in the press that he was on a watermelon diet. Oh yeah, how many of those watermelon diets kill you?
Right.
And people bought it. So whatever.
What a bunch of dummies. Hey, you people in the past, you're all stupid.
Thank God we have TMZ now to go through people's shit.
Exactly. Like if they invent time travel, I'm not going to go kill Hitler. I'm just going to go back and call everybody stupid.
How do you feel about all these people who are calling Trump Hitler?
I don't know. Like the most recent one, like that I read, like they're saying like Louis C.K. like called him Hitler, but like he did it in such a typical way of him, where like he really wasn't. He was actually being like nice to Hitler by saying that, because he's like people think of Hitler as a monster, and he was just a human being that was kind of an asshole, like, and that people bought into. So like Trump could be a person like that,
Sure.
And so it's not like it's not saying he like already is Hitler, like he's just like he put on like his Hitler like real mask or whatever.
It's like you always want to be cautious, because whenever somebody is like just sort of not doing well in an argument, they're like, this is the worst thing since Hitler. It's like, oh, come on, really?
Well, I love, like, one of my favorite things that I read recently was like this couple that they were sort of trotting out like to show that like even like Harvard educated liberals like some of them are thinking of voting for Donald Trump, and it was this
Why?
like, but it was these people saying like, oh, like it's like Hillary's going to be gridlock and this is going to be terrible and like that. Trump might actually sneak in and shape a few things up and it's this whole sort of like rationale or whatever. But then like at the end of it, they basically say people will say like, oh, like he's the next Hitler or something like that, and like that may or may not be the case. But I really just think that he's the lesser of like all the bad options. And it's like, so you're willing to admit that he's Hitler. It could be Hitler, but that's okay with you. You're like, well, I'm not Jewish, so it's the whole Hitler thing really doesn't affect me that much.
Really, so. When you break it down, he's like Hitler light.
It's like, I mean, yeah, maybe he will be Hitler, but you know what? Like, I'm a Catholic, so that's cool.
He's a benevolent Hitler.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I heard this other explanation recently about how they're saying that actually Trump is going to be like Schwarzenegger, where
Right.
Schwarzenegger, it seemed like the liberals out there were like, "This is crazy. You're making this person's a crazy person." Then he ended up being
making
kind
a
of
mockery.
He ended up being kind of a sensible person that the Republican Party hated.
Right.
And so, like, the argument goes that Trump, he doesn't like toe the party line, even though he's like running under the Republican ticket.
Oh, yeah,
like, I think he was in favor of Obamacare,
Yeah.
and then he was against the war, and it was just like there's a bunch of things that he just doesn't see. And he supports.
He has
Planned
no ideology. Like he's whatever makes him money. Period.
Yeah, he supports Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
So it's like, like people are saying like, yeah, if he actually gets in, he could, he could surprise everybody who thinks he's
Right.
going to it's definitely not going to be Ted Cruz. If Ted Cruz gets in, you know exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But Trump, I don't know. I'm not willing to take that. It's like, oh yeah, he may surprise us domestically and then end the world.
Right.
Like on the.
Well, it's like Ted Cruz. Like we know what he'll do. He'll give a pill that gives worms to his ex-girlfriends.
Fucking Ted Cruz. I had dinner with an old friend of mine 2 nights ago, and he works on the Hillary campaign. He works with Obama.
Right.
And I was explaining to him, I was like, I don't know why, but for some reason I've had a hard-on for Rubio because the only reason I would never vote for Rubio, the only reason is because he just seems like he's the only legitimate candidate left. Like, he's not this fucking like circus clown out there like everybody else. And I kind of felt the same way in the Republican primary, the last election, where it's like this whole clown car of idiots running around, and like Romney's standing in the middle, going like, "Really? I got to run against these assholes."
Right.
So it's like it was clear to me it had to be Romney. And in this election, going into it, I was like, okay, it's either Rubio, Bush, or Walker. Walker, who I hate the most.
Yeah.
He's just like a fucking he's so opposed to everything I believe in.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's a fucking serious candidate. So Walker and Bush are gone. Rubio's left. And so I was telling my friend, I was like, I don't know why, but like I feel bad because Rubio just got that hatchet job by Christie.
Right.
Like Christie did this like murder-suicide thing.
Like I want to feel more sorry for Rubio than I probably am because but like he's like I feel like Rubio like just is his own worst enemy. Like he just looks like he's being browbeaten all the time. Where he's just like, sorry, I want to be president. What do I do? Hey guys, like you said I could be president. Like what happened?
Right, exactly. And so, but like my buddy who works in the Clinton campaign, he said, to be honest with you, man, like he's like all of the simulations that we've done,
right?
Like Rubio's the only candidate that beats Clinton. So when Christie did that hatchet job on Rubio and just like basically sunk his campaign, everybody in the Hillary campaign was just like cheering.
Wow.
They were like, yeah, fuck, like the rub on Chris Christie is he's too much of a bully, and he basically went out and bullied fucking Rubio out of the campaign and handed the because he, according to my buddy, he said that all the metrics that they use, Hillary against Trump, Hillary against Cruz, Hillary kills both those.
Right.
Both of those two. So, who knows? Maybe I guess even though I felt bad for Rubio for half a second, now I feel good that like the best chance of Hillary losing is now out. Insider baseball.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Speaking of baseball, do you want to take a break and come back and give a little There's not a whole lot of sports going on, but we can do a couple updates.
Why not?
All right, this is SFBarkast, and we are at, what the fuck is this place called again?
24th Street Bar.
24th Street Bar.
How could you forget that?
24th Street. All right, we'll be back. All right, and we are back at 24th Street. 24th Street Bar?
Well, it doesn't say the, actually. It just says 24th Street Bar, so I guess that's it. That's all they could afford.
It's kind of filling up. We got here when they just opened, and so it was like it was like there's nobody in here.
It's a semi-decent space. It's long.
Yeah, it's long. You know what? I always say this, and I don't know if this is an affectation or if it's actually like here structurally, but when they have exposed brick here, and I think it looks really good. Although, like I've been to Chicago like 3 times in my life. If for some reason exposed brick always reminds me of a Chicago bar.
Yeah, I can see that. Sort of like Chicago Firehouse, sort of like,
I mean, like how
every,
did I get that?
every deep dish place, so it's like sort of like stereotypically exposed brick or whatever.
Yeah, you want deep dish pizza in here?
Hey.
But yeah, it's like it's starting to fill up. It's starting to feel more neighborly, The bartender is a really cool dude, although he looks a lot like, Josh Holub.
Josh Holub. Yes, we had him on the show.
He was on the show. Comedian extraordinaire, Josh Holub.
Indeed.
The bartender here looks like basically if Josh went to the gym like a lot, like a muscle version of Josh Holub.
Well, if he treated you nice, maybe he was just under tremendous pressure. Maybe like the guy ordering the drink that he was feverishly making was like holding a gun to his head or something.
Yeah, he was like getting me the drink. I was like, yeah, so we just got back from Radio Valencia. We're getting interviewed. He's like, I don't really care, sir. He's like, that's whatever
I'm not listening to you, sir.
That's whatever you're talking about for you.
I don't want your street news or whatever you're selling.
So I don't have much on sports right now, but I will say this much. I'm so glad I'm not in Nevada because the Warriors played the Lakers today, and it was a 17-point spread. And
which is, that's about as big as I've ever heard of.
It was 17 and a half.
Wow.
Because the Warriors are the best team in the league, and the Lakers are the second to worst.
Yeah.
Even though it's in L.A. and
they said it was actually a NBA record for the largest winning percentage discrepancy. So it's it was absolutely the biggest instance of the best team playing the worst team in the history of the league.
Yeah, and when was the last time the Warriors lost?
Yeah.
So they lost today. They lost by 23 or something.
Yeah, they got kind of schooled.
I mean, I don't know what happened there. I didn't watch the game, but that's the kind of game that if I was in Nevada, I would have money on, and then I would just be tearing my fucking hair out.
See, my theory is that Prince, I believe, was in town for Vanity's funeral, maybe, in Oakland or something.
Is it Vanity or Apollonia?
Apollonia. I'm sorry, yeah.
I don't know. No, I think it's Vanity who's dead.
Well, yeah, whichever one they just put in the ground.
Whichever
She's the one that's dead, I'm pretty sure.
The one they just planted.
Yeah, exactly. So Prince played 2 secret shows, I think, in the last week in the Bay Area. And so that and especially since one of was at Oracle Arena, and Prince came to their game the next night, and so there's lots of conversations there. I'm sure they went to lots of parties with Prince after both of those shows. So maybe they were just straight fucked out. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, look, the game today was in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah. So they had to fly, down to Los Angeles as well. So
yeah, exactly. So the Warriors were probably just partying all night. Somebody actually told me a long time ago that. There was I think the last year the Detroit Pistons played won the championship when they had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Rip Hamilton.
Yeah.
But somebody, I hang out with a bunch of degenerate gamblers, but somebody told me that if there was ever a back-to-back on the weekend.
Yeah.
Or a Sunday afternoon game after the Pistons had played a Friday game.
Every time.
They lose all the time because they're partying all the time.
Yeah.
So if it was a Friday night game or a God forbid a Saturday night game,
right?
And they had to play next afternoon, they're all hungover.
Bro, and think about it. If you're in that position and you're the Warriors and deep down you've got a sort of a game in hand. You can lose one of your road games and still break the record and everything will be fine.
Yep.
But and so you have that in the back of your head, and then you think how often is Prince going to be in town? It's like
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not going to happen. Like maybe again in my life where I'm here playing basketball and like he wants to hang out with me. Like,
and I feel like I really like failed myself because I've been saying for years that like Prince is the one person that I have never seen in my life, and everyone tells me it's amazing. And he did a bunch of shows here, and I didn't get to see any of them.
Would you have like a specific era of Prince that you would like to, if you were the time traveling sort?
I mean, like the Purple Rain would probably be it.
No.
I just think like when Michael
You would
Jackson.
go see like the Bat Dance era or something?
The what?
Like the Bat Dance, the Batman soundtrack.
Not the Bat Dance.
That's so bad.
Like, like when Michael Jackson died, I was like, oh shit, I forgot to see Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
So like when Prince is, it's not like Prince is like in jeopardy of dying anytime soon, but I have like fond memories of like, just like being really into Prince in high school, and you got to understand like where I grew up. Like, if you didn't like classic rock, you were gay, right?
Right.
Like, I remember...
What do you mean? We're all going to 38 Special, Jeff. What are you going to see? I'm going to go see Prince. No, you're not, Jeff. You're going to 38 Special with the rest of us.
I remember, like, like telling someone I like Prince, and they were like, what? Prince is a fag. And I was like, how is that... How does that logic even work? All of his songs are about fucking women.
Right. Like, I think he fucked like Kim Basinger and like
right.
Apollonia and
right, exactly. He's like a fuck machine. Like,
right.
But for like the people I grew up with didn't need any like reasonable like reason to call someone gay.
Right. He's wearing a purple suit.
So I missed Prince, but like I went to the last the last Lost Weekend stand-up show. Last night, and because Lost Weekend, Syndicate at Lost Weekend is closing on Valencia Street.
R.I.P. that as well.
Yep, R.I.P. that. And DJ Real was doing a set last night, and he was saying that he had seen Prince the night before in Oracle Arena, and he's like, yeah, in between songs, Prince would just ride around on this little bike on stage. And I'm just like, just when I thought I couldn't like this guy anymore, it's like. Although it's one of those things where it's like if anyone else did it,
right?
If you're like, okay, I'm the lead singer of My Morning Jacket, and in between songs I'm gonna ride this little like miniature bike, like people will be like, hey, what the fuck? But like when Prince does it, people are like, genius. Why didn't I think of that?
It's like, and now while there's a bass solo, I'm gonna like ride my motorcycle around this dome.
There's like a bass solo, and he's building a ramp for him to jump or something with his like little bike.
So they cut to like footage of him jumping the Grand Canyon.
I love that guy. So
fantastic, but like other than that, like we're in the sports shithole, right? Like
sports shithole
of the year. But like March Madness is on its way.
Oh, also I have another announcement. I am going to be in Las Vegas for the first 4 days of the tournament.
Like the first part of the segment was like, I should never be in Las Vegas.
I know, exactly.
And by the way, Las Vegas, I'm coming your way.
You remember right after the Super Bowl when I'm breaking up with sports gambling. Right. Like we're just not a good pair. We're fighting all the time. And
I gave you 5-1. You can't.
No, and now I'm like, oh baby, take me back. I'm coming to the tournament. So yeah, I'm gonna be there for the tournament. And actually, if there's any, I'm trying to read up on like some tournament insider shit.
Yeah. or in my case, that would be like learn anything besides like the name Ben Simmons.
Yeah, who's not going to be in the tournament,
right?
So all I can think about is that all that I've learned is that this could be the best college basketball tournament ever because there'll be so many upsets, which means it'll be the worst for me because I'll be gambling.
Ah, you're right.
So.
Well, it actually might be bad to watch if all the teams suck. Like that's basically what they're saying, right? Is that everyone can
they're saying
everyone can tank on any given night.
Well, they were saying even last year there was maybe 5 teams that could win it all, like Wichita State and Kentucky. Kentucky was undefeated, and Wisconsin with Frank the Tank.
Right.
This year they said 20 teams could win it all. So it's absolutely insane. It's just basically going to be a crapshoot.
Right.
Which makes for great gambling. And yeah, so
just don't do too many parlays in that case.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You got to limit the parlays to 2. Usually I'll go for a threesome.
Yeah.
And I can't do a threesome this year.
But then you think like, oh, but if they did like a 12-way parlay, how much money would that be?
It totally, like, if you could overdose on basketball, that would be the time to do it, because it's like the first 2 days, there's 16 games each?
Yeah, it's bananas.
Each day.
Right.
And then if you bet, if you take first half and second half wagers, it's like 32 games.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, break it up into like 1 minute, 30-second segments. Like, I could make $1 billion in the course of a weekend.
How is it that I'm still alive? Any news in baseball? I know, like, that's ramping up.
Yeah. Like, I haven't been able to like get remotely encouraged.
People get so excited for baseball, but I'm just like, I get like kind of excited too. But then then when they start playing, I'm like, oh yeah.
It's like, oh god, another like 9 months of this.
Yeah,
like,
9 months of this.
Right.
Baseball's good. Like if you're like, you're like one of these sort of obsessive compulsive people, and you're like, okay, every day I have to check to see what the score is.
Right. Every day I have to like compile stats. It's like boring.
Oh, all those stats guys, those like advanced analytics guys, like,
right.
oh god, you nerds.
Nerds. Yeah, I can't think of anything else really that's happening in sports.
Yeah. Is hockey doing anything?
It might be. I don't know.
I thought you were a hockey fan.
You know what? Like I used to be, but like I've sort of fallen. Yeah, like there just seems like such like a turnover of players and everything like that. That it's hard to if you stop paying like really close attention to hockey, like suddenly like you don't know who anybody is. Like it's like, and they all have like really hard to pronounce names and shit. Yeah, it's like being like a United Nations elevator operator or something like that. Yeah,
this is old man Andrew here. Like, they all got weird names. They can't.
Back in my day, they had simple names like Smith.
All right, why don't we take a break then, and we'll come back, and maybe we'll do a little movies or TV.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm onto a new TV show.
Whatever.
All right, this is SFBarkast, and we're at 24th Street Bar in the Mission. All right, and we are back at 24th Street Bar. I was just in the bathroom and, doing my business.
Right.
And there's some graffiti in there that someone wrote, "Don't forget about the attic." And then somebody wrote underneath it, "Fuck the attic, it smelled like balls."
Oh.
So it's like, yeah.
Shots fired.
Some people think that San Francisco is just like filled with people who are like ready to go and protest at a moment's notice.
Right.
But like the truth is, most people don't really give a shit about anything
right.
But once you take someone's favorite bar away, suddenly it's like an after-school special in here where it's like they took my dive bar.
Right. Fantastic.
Jesus Christ.
What's your like sort of overall opinion so far? Like you don't have to, without giving too much away.
I'm liking it. The thing is, it's a very sanitized. It's brand new.
Yeah.
It's got that new bar smell. It's like You just open up the package, and so it doesn't have a whole lot of chance to sort of like, it hasn't been worked in yet. Nobody's wrote like "eat cunt," carved "eat cunt" into the floor or something like that. Like the
I'll get right on that.
you got to understand like the what it was before, for better or worse. It was just like this disgusting bathroom with all this graffiti, and it just like had this dank to it.
Right.
And it's weird, people like, oh yeah, this place is shit, I love it. So it feels very sanitized right now, but I think that's just because it's new.
I agree with the Beastie Boys when they said one man's ceiling is another man's floor.
It's very, I'm going to think about that for a while.
Right. I'll edit in like a gong sound thing right there.
What do you want to, last time we got together, I think I made this proclamation on air that I probably should not have done, where I said that I got into the show Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, did you say that? I don't even remember that, but
yeah, well, or maybe it was the one with Kevmo was on. So I started watching that show, and the thing is, it's like it's like 4 seasons and like there's like 24 episodes each. And
Right.
I first started watching, I'm like, this isn't for me. Like, this is like for like teenagers or something
Right.
like that. And then like I knew it sucked.
Look at those hot teenagers.
I just kept going back to it. Well, I was watching it fully clothed. Okay, I'll say that much.
Okay.
It's not like I'm Barry Sobel watching the like Little League World Series. So, but but for some reason I just kept going back to it. Like at the end of the night, I'm just like, oh, I'll just put that on. I'll like internet surf.
Yeah.
And I got so into it, and I was like, something has to stop. Like like I don't really care about these like young teenage girls like and their problems. And then on the 4th, a few days ago, the new season of House of Cards came out.
Right.
So I've been
A show I've never watched.
saved.
But,
I've been saved from Pretty Little Liars because I've just been like watching House of the last season, the 4th season of House of Cards.
Right.
House of Cards is a great show about horrible, horrible fucking people.
Yeah.
And it's all politics driven, but like there's like some elements of that show that are really good. I mean, it's a David Fincher thing.
Wow.
At least he was like doing it in the first season.
Yeah.
But and Kevin Spacey's amazing.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
Robin Wright's great.
Yeah.
And it's really good, And the thing is, there's a couple of sort of sensational things about it that you're kind of like, man, that would never really happen, But it's like it's high drama. It's almost melodrama in DC, where it's like whatever the most dramatic thing that could happen will happen.
Right.
It's like,
well, like the show Scandal is sort of the same way, where it's like, it takes place on this stage that's just ridiculous, like where it's like, presidents and like affairs and stuff like that
right.
like are just ridiculous. Like it's like,
but you're just kind of like, well, if it was kind of true to life, you probably wouldn't watch it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You'd be like, this is boring as fuck.
Right. It's like, well, I'm gonna go edit this phone book sized document. Like,
Right. Exactly.
all right. See you in 24 hours.
Yeah, that episode where he's redacting all the names from the report. Like that's fucking. So. Oh, is that who is that guy?
That's Paul Lynde.
That's Paul Lynde.
That is Paul. That is
Sorry.
confirmed bachelor Paul Lynde.
I'm like looking around at the bar, and they still have this Rock Hudson movie on, and Paul Lynde is on there. Oh my God! I bet those guys had fun together.
And you know what? I bet like Paul Lynde is playing a sexist ladies' man of some sort. Like
Oh, I love it. I've often said that like if people don't know, Paul Lynde was like center square.
Yeah.
Like if you've never taken a history class, let me like bring you up to speed. Paul Lynde was center square on Hollywood Squares,
Right.
And I honestly have said that I think he's the first gay man I knew about
okay.
in my life because initially I didn't really get it because like he seemed to be like this, just like the guy that everybody loved, but all of his jokes are like having some fucking cabana boy bring him another towel or something
Right.
like that. And I'm just like, why is that funny? So like he and Charles Nelson Riley, I think, are the two.
Him.
Somebody asked me. I know I sound like I get into a lot of weird conversations, and I do.
Right.
But somebody asked me once, like, if you could be haunted by any dead celebrity, who would it be?
Paul Lynde.
I was like Charles Nelson Riley.
Oh yeah. If I could choose two, it'd be like Charles Nelson Riley and Brett Summers. Like
he would just be like, "Woo, you're out of grapefruit juice."
Or it was like Paul Lynde, like stealing this from Gilbert Gottfried's like story about him, or like that. But he's like he always quotes Paul Lynde as saying like, "It smells like pussy in here, I think."
That's great.
That, and according to Gilbert Gottfried, he was a horrible anti-Semite as well, and like he would just sit stewing in the center square, going like, "Jews ruined my career."
Dude, I love those old like days. Like I remember a while ago, you were really like addicted to like the Game Show Network, and
yeah, like that was a period I went through.
It was a dark period. But I remember like. I think I was like trying to talk you out of it, and I was just like, Andrew, why are you watching the Game Show Network? It's like it all happened like so long ago. Who cares if they win or not? And you're like, you really don't know what you're talking about because it's like It's not about like who wins and who loses. It's about like match game and fucking Jack Cassidy.
I grabbed you by your jacket lapels and I said, "You shut up about that. It's not true. It's all great.
Get out of my house."
You're not allowed to watch Super Password with me.
Mike Martindale is turning in his grave.
You're worse than Peter Tomarkin.
So, have you been watching anything aside from the Game Show Network?
I did like on like on your recommendation, or at least admitting that you watched it last time. I checked out the first 2 episodes of that 11/22/63 show, and like I had no idea. I mean, like it's so weird that like there's so much stuff that comes out now that like there can be so many things that like I haven't like heard one word about. Like when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, what is that? Like some dumb thing on the Sci-Fi Channel or something like
dumb
that?
Thing Jeff's talking about.
But like, and then like it starts up and it's like J.J. Abrams and like fucking James Franco's in it, and
but
like
you kind of feel like with. I mean, it's a good thing, like, if you want to get work, because there's so many networks and there's so many, like, avenues to, like, broadcast, like, stuff.
Right.
But it's really hard to get some momentum going and, like, to be a thing, you know? Like, Walking Dead is, like, the last, like, massive thing that really happened. Like, now everybody watches it.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, there's, like, small little things where it's, like, you can get turned on to some show that's really good that nobody's seen. Nobody knows about.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like I mean, there's there's probably like plenty of people that watch like that show, The Americans, like and love it, and like and it keeps coming back and everything like that. But like, I mean, it's like the entire viewership of a show like that's probably less than 1 million or something like that.
I heard this interview with somebody where they were debunking the entire rating system because first off.
Well, now it's just like amassing content is all they care about. Like it's just like we just want to build a giant library that like
should like NCIS.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, if you're some online presence and you can say like we have all like 5,000 hours of like CSI or like that. Like, it's like that's something to boast about. So like that's all they care about.
Well, so this person was like saying that, and I've actually said this like a long time ago, where it's like. It baffles me that the metric that we use to determine what is the #1 show is still the Nielsen ratings.
Yeah, it's
because
ridiculous.
Like the Nielsen, they still do this thing where they have 2,000 Nielsen families, and then their statisticians extrapolate out what they watch and then suddenly those numbers all determine which shows get fucking renewed and not, and also those ratings determine how much money the sponsors have to pay.
Right.
If it gets this number, they have to pay this much. If it gets this number, they don't have to pay as much. And
it's like something like NCIS. Like Mark Harmon's probably the highest paid actor in Hollywood, and like no one watches that show that's under the age of 80.
Right. And like they were saying, like, kind of exactly what you were saying. It's like it's so antiquated because it tells you NCIS or CSI are like routinely like the #1 shows, but as far as like cultural cachet, like they don't have
zero.
Like Game of Thrones, that's a thing. Like even though like it doesn't get the ratings of CSI, like it culturally has so much more significance. So like he was trying to come up with some new metric that would like basically say like what's the most popular show,
I think the secret is you sort of have to do like what Zuckerberg did and swindle and essentially swindle people into being willing to telling you what they're watching at all times.
No, my idea was just have everything's streaming, everything's plugged in. Just have like an app that you can opt into or not opt into that it will register what you watch.
Yeah. Like
how many people would say yes? I would love to have my vote count.
Right.
Even if I'm just watching Skinamax all night. By the way, the music died. I just Skinamax all night.
Even if I'm tugging myself around the living room to the Sears catalog. Hello. Oh, sorry. There'll always be people like close friends of mine who are like, "Oh, I don't want people to know what I'm watching." It was like, then don't opt into it, okay? Yeah.
But like, people like think like, oh no, I don't want people to know what I'm doing. It's like, dude, nobody gives a fuck what you're doing.
Well, it's like the same kind of people that freak out that like, you know, they get like an email from a company that like seems to like know what they like or something like that, and they're just like, oh man, they're all sharing my information. It's like, well, yeah, but you know what? That's better than getting like 20,000 emails from things that you don't like.
Yeah, do you remember the days of getting like 50 emails about dick pills? You want to go back to that?
No.
I mean, you only need one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic.
So, you been watching anything else? And you hadn't seen any movies?
God, you know what? Like, yeah.
Oh, you know what? There was a big upset.
Spotlight on the
exactly.
Oscars, right?
I just want to point out in our Oscar preview, our Oscar gambling preview,
right?
I was 100%.
You were really?
Yeah. Although I was, that means I was.
Wait a minute.
I think I was 4 for 4.
You didn't like.
I picked Spotlight.
You didn't like pick the guy from Bridge of Spies, though, did you?
No, because we didn't go there.
Oh, okay,
we only did
right.
4. I think we did. We did director, picture,
movie,
actor, and actress.
Okay. All right.
Actor and actress.
That was so like the fact that Bridge of Spies won something major, and that's I'll go on record saying that's the dullest movie I've seen in the last 10 years.
Well, remember like
that includes the time my cable went out. It's like snow.
That's the one time I had to use my imagination because I didn't have television. So remember in the last episode I said very casually, I was like, if Bridge of Spies wins the Oscar, I'll do a podcast naked, and then like.
You have to at least do like one shoe off or something now.
He opened like the envelope and he kind of paused for a second and then he said Spotlight, and I was like, he didn't say Bridge of Spies, did he? Like, I mean,
like, I don't want to show everybody my dick.
Do you think that was kind of like a little bit of a like, okay, so maybe what happened was some of the movies like split the votes and then Spotlight just kind of like snuck in, right? Or maybe because they're these old racist assholes, and they see the protests about how there's not enough black like nominations. Right. They're like, all right, we're gonna vote for the whitest movie of all time.
Right.
This movie is so white. It's like Fluffernutter in the clouds. It's so white.
It's almost a hate crime to watch this movie. It's so white.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's a good movie. I mean. Although the one thing about the Oscars that really sucked, because I like Mark Ruffalo in that, but like when the guy from Bridge of Spies won,
right?
His name is like Mark Ripon or something.
Oh, something like that. Yeah.
And so like they answered, and whoever read it like paused for a half a second. She said Mark Ripon, and you know, like Ruffalo's just like, oh, I'll fucking murder you.
Like Sylvester Stallone's probably like, what? God damn it!
It sucks for Stallone, but it would have been nice for Stallone to watch Stallone get up in front of all those people and be like, ha, fuck you, fuck you.
Right.
But I don't know. Overall, I guess I was happy. Brie Larson seemed to be.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Great.
Like, I do want to see that.
Joe Biden made a little thing.
Oh, yeah.
Although I have to of course. I support the cause of like reporting college date rape.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be like, I don't know, that necessary to say. But can I just, platform?
I know. Can I just like say I hate this like this movement of like taking a pledge.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, I want you to everyone to go and take a pledge to like report like sexual harassment or something. It's like I don't need to take a pledge to be a decent human fucking being.
Everybody go get your I'm not a date rapist t-shirt.
Right, exactly. It's like,
no, I don't want to wear that.
They do that too, where it's like there are these sports celebrities doing these ads where it's like they want you to pledge that you're never going to text and drive. I'm just like, do I really have to put my hand on a fucking Bible?
Can I do it while I'm driving? Like,
although texting and driving, lots of fun.
It really is. Good times.
All right, you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, this is SFBarkast. We're going to come back. Maybe we can find some bad Yelp reviews, although it's only been open for like...
Oh, God, yeah. I can imagine there's more than one or two.
Maybe like 10 months.
10 months? Really? I thought it was like, 10 weeks or something.
I think he said July.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
I had no idea.
We'll figure it out. All right, this is SFBarkast. We'll be back. All right, and we are back at 24th Street Bar. bar. And you know what? Like, so during the break, we looked up. We like to do bad Yelp reviews.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is probably not going to go well because this bar has it's been
10
open for
reviews
less
at the
than
most.
a year.
Yeah.
But guess what? We are in luck. And not only are we found one-star Yelp review.
Right.
For the first time, this is Barcast history. For the first time, we are going to read a 5-star review because we just have to. Here's the thing. We like to read 1-star reviews because we like making fun of the douchebags who write 1-star Yelp reviews.
Right.
But this 5-star Yelp review is also comedy worthy.
All
All right, so here we go. This is the 1-star review from Vanessa M.
Okay.
Went to the place on Tuesday night, January 19th. Her story checks out.
Speaking of Law and Order episodes.
Exactly. I think there was a dog barking in the distance. The bartender provided terrible service, keeping me waiting twice when the bar was not even close to being busy. When we complained, he claimed he was serving another customer when it looked like he was having a personal conversation and decided not to serve drinks. Even worse, he was a huge jerk. Basically,
Even worse.
Basically, this review is, I'm not the jerk, you're the jerk. Even worse, he was a huge jerk and refused to serve us when we told him that we shouldn't have to wave him over and tell us to wait. Man, this is like
Wow.
This is what we love about bad Yelp reviews is that like people have this enormous sense of self-worth.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like,
you tell everyone else to fuck off and come here and serve me right now.
What a fucking pain in my ass to have to like beckon you over like you're a fucking slave. It's like,
Exactly.
dude, like
I'm used to being able to clap my hands to get what I want.
here's an idea. If the bar is not that busy and he is busy serving other people, and serving other people also involves engaging in conversation because you're a bartender,
I would
right?
hope so.
She said, like, oh, like, it looked like he was just having a personal conversation.
Like, so anyway, my mother's about to die, and hey, fuck yourself. There, 2 ladies just walked in.
Right, exactly. So maybe he's serving another customer. Here's an idea. While you're waiting for him, why don't you talk to your fucking friends? Like, why don't you like have a conversation yourself? Act like a fucking human being and be polite and not be a complete douchebag about it. Also, maybe you don't like hang yourself on the internet by writing a stupid Yelp review. So there we go. That's
All right.
Vanessa.
Now, okay, now we're ready for history to be made.
History
And
to
this
be
is the first
Old
5-star
drum roll.
review to be read. And this is by ST, location unknown. And
Ooh.
ST gives it 5 stars and writes, man, oh man, am I glad this joint replaced the attic. Gone are the years of piss and vomit stench that imbued the former bar. Caroline, the owner, Phil, the bartender, and especially Tony, the barback, have made our 3 or 4 visits there a complete pleasure.
By the way, does it kind of seem like as soon as like somebody starts naming the owners
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
manager, it's like, is it written by one of those people? It's like, oh,
Right.
those people are doing the best job, one of which is me.
That's right, Caroline, the owner, who really should give Phil, the bartender, a raise. Drinks are strong, reasonably priced, and they're totally cool with us bringing in our pup Chowder.
All right, your dog's name is Chowder.
Okay,
All right,
we'll try to forget that.
I couldn't hate you more.
What else could you ask for from a bar 3 blocks from your house? There's no houses 3 blocks from here, by the way. I suppose they own a condo or something. But
Yeah.
I generally judge a bar by the character of the most junior staff. What? No, you don't.
Wait, okay. Oh, I have a metric for like judging bars, and it goes. I have to tell who's the most junior person here.
What the fuck? Like, can I see your employee roster?
Exactly.
Arranged by date of hire, please.
Exactly. How long have you been here?
Bring it to me in scroll form. I started my career as a barback, and a great barback is inspired by a great bartender, who in turn is inspired by a great owner. Jesus Christ. Tony, Phil, Caroline, that hierarchy really works.
Yeah. Please let me know as when you were a barback what your muse was.
Exactly, please. Like, what inspired you to be the muse of the barback?
I'm so inspired by the way you bring the booze out.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Let's have 2 more.
Cool.
How about
We're like,
muscle bound Josh Hollow.
Like that. That's not Phil, is it?
What?
That's not Phil, is it?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
If he is, he's very inspiring.
Yes, you know what? And he makes a great Tony Caroline sandwich. That hierarchy really works. And Tony, if you're reading this, of course, why would the owner be reading
No,
anyway.
Tony's not the owner. I think
he's
Tony's
not.
the manager.
Oh, you're right. Whatever.
Well, believe me, you have to get all these like characters straight. It's like watching House of Cards.
This is worse than Mexican soap operas. All right, Tony, Phil, Caroline, that hierarchy really works. And Tony, if you're reading this, thanks for turning me on to Witchcraft, the band. Seriously up my alley. Why is this turning into a personal email?
He's like, hey, Tony, we should hang out sometime.
Hey, Tony, my wife didn't really care for the music you like, but, hey, maybe we can go fishing.
Exactly. I wonder what makes you tick.
So anyway, Witchcraft, it's like Sabbath and Cream had a baby. Well, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Great shit. My one and only complaint is that the chick who bartends on Fridays with the tattoos carries a bit of attitude. Well, you know what?
A bit of tude?
Maybe since you learned everyone else's name, you could extend the same
exactly. Yeah,
gratitude
that
to your
chick.
tattooed lady friend.
So wait, he said the tattooed lady.
Yeah, so. Okay, we're all guests at her joint. It's not her joint. And please tell us whose joint it is. You seem to know the rest of the fucking.
Pass the joint.
You seem to is he doing their taxes? And while I understand that they changed the neighborhood, maybe off-putting to some, you shouldn't bring that vibe in your place of work. But all in all, a great logo watering hole. You should go there, and you should be grateful this place opened up because, frankly, we're getting sick of the Lone Palm, Liberties, and Mission Bar. Sorry. This joint is our go-to moving forward.
And also, he or she misspelled too.
Oh,
it's like our go-to TOO.
Right.
All right, so whatever.
Good job, ST.
Good job, Jackass.
Good job of.
No, but my favorite part of that is the very end where it's he's praising everything, and then he cops the same attitude as Vanessa did in my review. Where
right,
it's
he has one experience where
this tattooed girl gave me a little attitude that it's her bar or we're going into her joint.
Didn't she hear about the fact that I've come here at least 3 or 4 times?
I don't know if you realize, but I write Yelp reviews.
I can write a 5-star review that will put you in your place.
I have more Yelp ink than you have tattoo ink, okay? So there we go. And once again, I want to encourage people to not stop writing Yelp reviews because you're all fucking subhuman, and we need something to make fun of. So there you go.
So I feel slightly bad now for my sour attitude coming in, because since that time actually it's been a good time. So
do you think it's the booze?
Yeah, probably. It's probably the Everclear bottle of Everclear I drank before.
It always goes one of two ways with us, where it's either we, like I said at Radio Valencia, we try to get our most cogent, well-crafted arguments in early, and then at the end
but that's not always the case. Sometimes you come out of the gate and you're clouded at the beginning, and you
That's true, but you gotta
go backwards.
You gotta at least try to make an effort for your you gotta try the highest degree of skill for the beginning, and then at the end.
Saying that sometimes we Benjamin Button it, where we we start off making no sense, and then wind up making perfect sense.
Wow, I haven't seen that yet, because usually it's we start off making sense, and then by the end of it, I'm I never liked you.
It's you're all in my bedroom.
Exactly. You press 1 for English. That's a drunk uncle reference from Saturday Night Live.
Fantastic.
Why? Somebody on one podcast was saying that they really think it's not fair that if you did jokes about drunk mother or drunk dad, I guess drunk dad would be different. It's kind of people oh, that's a little dark,
Yeah.
But it's like someone's drunk uncle, everyone's ha, fuck that person.
Exactly. Well, I think it's because it's a nuisance that you can get rid of. Where it's oh, drunk uncle's got to go back, and now he's drunk aunt's problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, you can go to bed, kids. You don't have to worry that drunk uncle's gonna come in and be a dick.
If I said your mother's a drunk, there's a possibility that you could take offense at that. But if I said
Never.
your uncle's a drunk, you'd be like, yeah, fuck him.
You bet your ass he is.
Oh, the best kind of drunk. And that podcast like resonated with me because I'm an uncle. I'm not a parent.
Right.
So I'm like, oh,
and
people,
I am not either, and I am also an uncle.
Yeah, you're an uncle as well, right?
Right. Several times over.
I had one time.
2 of which I don't think I've seen in 10 years. But like my older brother's children, you know, there's nothing wrong. We don't hate each other. I just never see his kids.
You don't hate that those children you're related to?
How good of you. Yeah, where's my trophy? Free speech.
So, yeah, well, I don't know. Like one time I went home.
I don't know what to do with all that personal family information.
One time I went home and my sister has 3 young girls.
Yeah.
And like they're at that age before they just kind of have any sort of internal, like, you know, oh, I shouldn't say this kind of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, you know, like the sort of internal editor, you know?
Right.
And
so great that kids come with this grace period where like.
Oh, it's great. Before, like, this is a beautiful moment where, like, they don't give a fuck about anything. And then
it's all downhill from there.
Then you get into high school, middle school and high school, and you care so much about what people think that it's paralyzing. And then when you get older and you get drunk, you don't care what anyone thinks. But I went home and I went over to see my 3 nieces,
right.
and I guess I look like a lot like my younger brother. So
Okay.
I came in and one of them said, Uncle Keith. And then
Right.
the other girl goes, that's not Uncle Keith, that's Uncle Jeff.
Right.
And then the other one goes, oh yeah, the crazy one.
Nice.
And I like immediately looked at my sister, and she's like, I don't know where she fucking got that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. I know where she got it from you and your husband. Yeah, your Uncle Jeff lives in San Francisco, and you know. So.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like to talk about Jeff.
On Dana Gould, they were like, oh, I don't know why I'm going to go off on like telling stories, like embarrassing stories about my family.
Right.
Well, it's the episode I was born to make. But like there was a point in like I think in the 90s where my mom was watching a lot of Will and Grace.
Okay.
And I think she really, really wanted to have a gay son, just to show all of her friends that
Right.
how like you know,
forward thinking she was.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like
I mean, like your dad got to have the whole like Cape Verdean son-in-law thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where's her fun thing to be
she
tolerant
wanted
about?
to brag to her friends about having a gay son just to show how fucking tolerant she was, because like it's not just enough to watch Will and Grace every week. And I remember, and this is like we had this Irish Catholic family which like never talked about anything.
Right.
Like we're not talking about our feelings anytime soon.
Right.
And I remember my mom told me,
"Is this about the Red Sox? Then shut up."
Right? Yeah, exactly. And I think my mom like told me in this moment where she's just like, you know, I just want to let you know, we'll love you no matter what. And I just like looked at her and went, no matter what?
Right.
And she's like, oh, I went back to like fucking like washing dishes. Like it was like I kind of called her. And she's like, but like the thing is, like that happens. I'm sure everybody who lives.
Like, you know what, Mom? I'll love you no matter how gay you are too.
Exactly. You want to sit around and watch Lady Chatterley's Lover? I feel like everybody in San Francisco has this story though, where it's like you go to San Francisco and you like you just live here for a while. If you're a man and you're single, like everyone's just like, oh my God, he's gay. Like
Right.
They don't need any empirical evidence. They don't need any like announcement or anything like, oh yeah, he's gay. I talked to a friend of mine recently, and she said the same thing happened. Like she's married, but she decided she doesn't want to have kids. So whenever someone in her family like asked her if she was barren, if like it was like one of those things like, oh, it's okay, I know someone who also can't have kids.
Oh.
And she was just like, whoa, wait. I
Not can't, just won't.
I just don't want to. And like that concept of like they don't want to have kids
Oh,
just
yeah.
makes the back of their heads just blow off.
Like well, I don't want to brag, but like yesterday, I went to
There we go.
a Mormon funeral outside of Sacramento. And
What the fuck? You didn't call
I was
me.
like, I know, I'm so sorry. It was last minute. But yeah, that's another and these are sort of like cousins of my wife who are like that. So like my wife didn't grow up Mormon, but like she has like this sort of like pretty large contingent of her excuse me, family that is like super Mormon, right? Like,
Gross.
and gross. but like I showed up there and like it's probably because I'm in the Bay Area and like I just like I'm not exposed to that much quote unquote family life. Like even you have to go out even past Oakland now to get into like full on everyone's a family. But like we went to this thing yesterday, and there are like couples that are in their like early 20s, maybe late teens, with like 3 or 4 kids.
All they want to do is fucking like
there's just babies
pop
everywhere.
out kids.
Yeah. Like like everyone had like at least 5 or 6 kids, and they're all like blonde haired, blue eyed, and it's just like it's weirdly terrifying where you're just like you're in some like alternate like Sound of Music universe where it's like what's going on? Like
I like when I first started coming back and my brothers and sisters had kids, like I really had to. I had like zero experience being around kids.
Yeah.
So it's like they'd all be running around. I'm like, hey, get the fuck over here. I'm like, oh shit.
Don't be such a fucking asshole.
Just hand me the fucking beer and shut up.
Oh, you untied my shoe. That's hilarious, you fucking prick.
Oh, here's something for you. A little kick in the head. Yeah, I remember like that was like most pronounced when I may have told the story before, but when I would go home, my brother would insist I babysit his kids one night when I was home, and like there was one night where they're like, "Oh, you went to film school, so you're into movies, right?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "You want to watch a movie?" I was like, "Sure, I love movies." And they're like, "You want to watch Toy Story?" I'm like, "Oh, sure, never seen it." They're like, "What?" You're like, "You want to watch?"
That's possible.
Like, you want to watch Finding Nemo?
What are you, a communist?
So you want to watch Finding Nemo? I'm like, sure, I've never seen it. You want to watch Beauty and the Beast? I'm like, yeah, I've never seen it. They're like, how come you've never seen this movie? So I'm like, have you ever seen Blue Velvet? I'm like, shut up.
I don't know, because I'm an adult and I'm not a creep. Exactly. I'm gonna go to I have to be a cinema completist, so I'm gonna go in a theater full of like children.
So fast forward to later, and I'm yelling, stop crying, or I'll turn Apocalypse Now off.
The horror, indeed.
Come on, it's not that bad.
You're worse than Charlie.
See, in Platoon, they call the other side Charlie.
Fantastic.
Jesus Christ.
Do you
have any plugs? Got anything going?
RadioValencia.fm, or as our buddy said, it was just
Oh
walking in
my God!
right this very second.
We're about to like fucking
Signing off.
Sit down.
Oh wait. Oh no.
So I tell you what. Let's sign off. We'll come back for one more segment. All right. This is SFBarkast, and we're at 24th Street Bar. All right, and we are back. And guess what? We're gonna have to let people know they have to stick around for the end of the podcast because this is what you've been waiting for. So we have Steve Courtney.
Yes.
And here's the thing: like before you were here, you're on Radio Valencia, and you interviewed us on Radio Valencia. So
I did, in fact, interview
tit for tat
today. Yeah.
And now you're over here. And first off, do you ever get like sick of being on a mic?
No, I think the reason you do terrible pirate radio is because you love the sound of your own voice.
Really? What's that like? I do this because to make the pain go away. Okay. So you interview us on Radio Valencia, and we're at the Attic. And Steve, you're wearing
the former Attic.
We're at the 24th Street
We're
bar.
at the 24th Street, but you're wearing an Attic T-shirt.
Yes.
Do you have any sort of apprehensions about going to the bar? And
it's a little bit painful for me to be here because this was my commuter bar. I was here basically between I don't know, 5:30 and 7:30 every day, because it's right next to the BART stop. And
I know what that's like because I go to Gestalt, and if I go to Gestalt late, like somebody at the bar goes, "Hey man, if you're going to be late for your shift, just call and let us know." So you come here all the time?
I used to, yeah, and I came here for the $2.50 martinis, which were incredibly useful to me when I was incredibly poor.
That just seems like it seems like science fiction. Like in this day and age in San Francisco, a $2.50 American martini.
The other thing is, I didn't really drink gin until up to that point.
But you got to make compromises.
You have one has to like learn to adjust. But now, because I've drank so many $2.50 martinis from here at the former attic, I can now drink any gin in the world. I could probably drink a gallon of it, no problem.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I could drink a gallon of gin, but just once you get used to the awful stuff, everything else is better.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All
right. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing about gin to me has always been that it just, I react so violently to it, but I know, like, there's so many,
you seem like a very violent
British
man.
drunks throughout history that, like, just threw it back like nobody's business, and, like, have these legendary, like, 3-4 fifths a day, like, gin habits, and it's like, how does one do that?
It's
like,
called Mother's Ruin for a reason. Yeah.
There was 1 month where I decided, you know what, like I'm gonna be a gin drinker. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch a lot of like Cary Grant movies, and I'm gonna
your intestinal system calls that like World War II.
Because that whole thing about like Cary Grant drinking gin, it's like, oh man, this guy's classy. He's holding it together and he's slamming all these girls. It's like, and then like after like 3 weeks of drinking gin, I was like, oh, I can't digest anything anymore.
But there's that band, the Gin Blossoms, and they're called the Gin Blossoms
for the nose
because of the nose thing, like W.C. Fields.
Yeah. They had a great song about what was that?
Hey Jealousy?
Yeah, Hey Jealousy, which is a song that like starts out where he's like calls his ex-girlfriend and says like, hey, can I stay with you tonight? I think I'm not good for driving. And I just hope that song just ended and she said no. and hung up, like the oldest trick in the book. Oh, I'm too drunk to go home. Can I come over and stay with you?
Because maybe you're drunk too.
It's like, no, you gotta. Yeah, it is dangerous to drink and drive. Give it a shot though. So okay, so I want to thank you for having us on your show.
Well, thank you for wanting me to be on your show.
One of the things that like I was saying is that do you do a lot of interviews on your show? Because I got the feeling that you're more of a music show.
Wait, did the interview suck?
No, not at all. It's just that I think like it was great because we vibed and it worked really well. But like so much about music.
My show is mostly about new releases. My show is Outdoors Curated Catastrophe on RadioValencia.fm Sundays from 2 to 4 p.m. It's a lot of new music, a lot of new Britpop, a lot of new psych rock, whatever's coming out.
Like the music breaks were really great. Like
it was great. Like everything you played, I was like, holy shit, this is great. I don't know why he's wasting his time with us.
But yeah, I have a lot of bands on. I have a lot of people. Cool. It's easier for me if I have somebody to talk to instead of just talking to the wall with a sad, lonely microphone.
Are there any bands that you've interviewed had in there that are just that fucking rock and roll stereotype where they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna vomit? Like,
what, you want me to talk shit?
Yeah, exactly. I do want you to talk shit.
No, everybody has been awesome, but there's a band.
That's what a lie sounds like.
There's a band called The Famous, who are a San Francisco country rock band who I honestly, legitimately love. But this is the worst story I could tell about anybody that was one of my guests. The guitar player came on, and he's like, man, I'm really hungover. Do you think somebody could go get me a burrito? And I'm like, I don't know, did you bring somebody?
Is there a midget with
you? We don't have interns.
Burrito fetcher on your rider?
I
think he thought we were K-San or something.
He's like, I don't think he's like, is there a burrito runner around here?
Yeah. I mean, and I've been hungover and wanted a burrito myself, so maybe he was just hoping against hope. But
I had a friend who is a photographer, and she was doing photography for that. Remember that band Jet from
Australia.
Australia.
Australia, yeah.
Well, she was doing.
Yeah,
exactly. She was doing a photo shoot with them, and like just as they're getting ready, like she's like, "Okay, you guys go over here." So like, one of them just like leans forward and vomits all over, and like 'cause they're just totally hammered.
Right.
And then she's like, "Look, you guys really need to take a little time and figure out, is this really how you want to present yourself, kind of stuff." And then
They're probably like, yes.
they got them together, and then they said, "We're not going ahead with the photo shoot until we get some cocaine." And
That was the result of her comment?
exactly, right, exactly. She's like, obviously it fell on deaf ears. So then she called me, and she's like, "Look, I know you're connected, you know people."
Would she called you for the blow?
She called me, and she's like, "Can you buy?" She's like, "I really need to do this photo shoot. Can you please procure some of this and bring it to me?" I was like, "Okay, this is the 10th and last time I'm doing it." No. And so I did it, and then she called me back, and like she said, in the interim, she thought better of it and called like the manager and said, "Hey, look, I just want to let you know what the score is here. Like, I'm having someone go by below for these guys." And the manager just goes, "Under no circumstances are you to give those people cocaine." And she called me and she said, "Don't come."
Yeah.
Flush it down the toilet. Feds are on their way.
She said also, like, don't ever tell that story ever again.
Which you just recorded for posterity. Okay.
Exactly, so there you go. Although those guys are Australians, right?
Yeah, so there are no drug laws in Australia as far as I know.
I had a friend who went to like Asia, and he said he's very cautious. He doesn't want to seem like the drunk, loud, like American. And he said he didn't have to worry about that at all because the Australians have that obnoxiousness on lockdown.
Really?
Like if you go traveling, like the Australians are the ones that are like loud and drunk and fighting. So,
or if you're in Europe, it's like the northern, like English, like that have like taken over, like every bar, and like just want to fight you for being there.
So while we have you here, like I think you said like you already told me what your favorite bar was, but I already forgot. What is it?
Well, it used to be the Attic, which we're sitting in now, but now it's the 24th Street Bar, which I wish every success. But wait,
that's very big of you.
What do you guys think of this? We'll get back to where it's my favorite bar.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, we did it, and I said my take was that it's that like, even like I like it. It's very comfortable. But the problem I have is that like it's just so brand spanking new that it hasn't had enough time to have any character.
It's got the Edison bulbs and the exposed wood, and I'm like, I really wish it well.
When I walked in, like I walked in like probably 5 minutes after they opened, and there was one other person here, and basically like the bartender was like doing my exact pet peeve, which is like being really stressed out making a drink and doing it like really fucking fast, and it was like 10 minutes before he even acknowledged that I was there, and like I wanted, it was the kind of thing where I really wanted to be open-minded. I really wanted to walk in and I liked the initial like sort of like decor that I saw. But that whole experience soured me initially, but I've come sort of back around a little bit. I still think the decor looks like somebody said do the Rick House at 1/10 the cost. So
this fuckwad across the street.
By the way, I love it when the story starts like that.
Is the guy? Remember, I played that song Jean Marie Genoux or whatever. So they have their own local Jean Marie Genoux. This place used to have a license so they could have live music and bands and shit.
Sure. Right.
And like that fuckwad across the street complained about them.
Is that where she lives?
No, but it's somebody just like that.
Oh, really?
So this place is dead as far as an entertainment venue because thank you, fuckwad across the street. But also, there's a pizza place across there that I forgot the name of that opened and actually had fantastic pizza. Let's not get into the East Coast, West Coast pizza thing. I don't know and I don't care. I'm from the West Coast, so I care about burritos. I don't care how shitty your bagel is because I'm from the West Coast. But they had really good pizza over there, and they had this beautiful beer garden. They were opening up for a beer garden, kind of trying to be like the north or the South Mission Zeitgeist.
Right.
And they had a beer garden. They had what do you call it? Like the games you toss things at.
Oh, cornhole.
Okay.
I was going with the one horseshoes, but
Oh, there we
okay.
go. Right, yeah.
Anyway, they totally opened, and that fuckwad across the street began instantly complaining about them, and like to such an extent that they could never ever open their beer garden, and
That sucks.
and then they ultimately failed as a business.
Right.
So,
so-
thank you, fuckwad across the street for
So the pizza joint is gone.
yeah.
Wow.
Right. That's terrible.
I
That's
get
like,
the, okay, so like that's a different person that tried to get the attic closed, right? So like, are we just like in?
It's the same fucking person.
Oh, it's the same person.
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, okay.
It's that fuckwad across the street.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I keep making huge offensive
Like
gestures.
you said, gestures are great on radio.
Everyone that's like walking by the bar right now is like, "What? That guy just flipped me off. What the hell?
It's like, oh, I'm not going in there.
My God,
I'll never go
what happened
in
in this
there.
neighborhood?"
Well, yeah, it's like this. Well, the thing is, like with the attic, one of the complaints was that it was too loud, right? That they had to soundproof it or something like that. So, like, what are these people supposed to do? Like, it's still going to be loud. I mean, they're not going to have bands here, but
Right.
it's
Yeah, the attic was never any louder than this. They were just playing Black Sabbath instead of whatever this is.
they're like, if they were playing some smooth jazz, I'd be totally into it. That'd be a great thing if a bar had like smooth jazz. We're the
Like
smooth
Yanni
jazz.
or something like that, just like blasted Yanni the whole night.
Yeah, kind of like the Quiet Storm.
Like John Tesh and Yanni pretty much all night.
So Steve, wait, what the fuck is going on here?
What the-
sorry.
I don't know. That guy's pushing buttons.
Okay, well, no, there was like a. Oh, look, there's a,
Oh, there we go.
there's a
Oh, yeah,
screen
you're right.
right
There's
over
like
here.
All
All right, well, they're doing something
I
over
have
here.
no idea where that's
All right,
coming
so
from.
back
even.
to-
You guys
Well-
edit your podcasts?
I mean, we should. So,
Clip out the extraneous nonsense?
no, because no, this is like cinema verite for podcasts. We want to capture all the nuances of being in a dingy bar and having no goal in life, no reason to go on.
It's like a Warhol film. Like, yeah, there's like hours where nothing happens.
Exactly. Good. It's good. So, Steve, your favorite bar now? Now that the attic is gone, where do you go?
I would say it's probably, and this is cheating, Bender's.
No, Bender's
yeah.
is a great bar.
Bender's is a high quality bar.
I've got a lot of friends that work on the staff there. Shout out to Johnny. I went to my fucking 45th birthday there. Johnny, Damon, Will, the other guy who's incredibly fit because he rides his bicycle every goddamn day. Yeah, Bender's is awesome. I'm trying to think of where my secret bar is that I go to when no one knows about. Actually, Hogwash is not awful.
Where's
in
Hogwash?
the financial district. It's a beer and sausage place. It's
Okay.
I think it's like Sutter and kind of Powell-ish.
Yeah. Like I think we've been a few places
I like
right around
that.
there.
I like that place because the bartender, the owner, the first time I was there, she's like, "You seem cool. I got to run to the bank. You're on your own," and she left.
That's great.
And
Right.
I'm like, I guess things are. I'm cool. So I poured myself about 87 shots.
So
of
after I
beer.
robbed the place,
yeah,
Right.
so the
It came back to find you like lying prone under the tap.
and also you DJ at one of my favorite bars, St.
St.
Mary's.
Mary's, yeah.
Oh, okay.
St.
St.
Mary's
Mary's
pub.
is, and actually I mentioned it on your show, and I looked at DJ Death Wish, and I was like, yeah, I almost feel bad that I'm saying this because like when you have a favorite bar that is tolerable, that you can kind of sit and have a conversation like this.
The last thing you want to do is like
You hold
tell
on to
everybody
it.
about it.
Yeah.
Although if somebody who worked at that bar was here right now, they'd be like, "Are you what?" Like they would be
Right.
like, "No, tell people about it. We need more people to come in."
All right, I've got two local calls. One of which is the Peaks on
In Noy Valley.
in Noy Valley because I live on 24th Street, 2 blocks from there. That's a bar I used to love, and now it's kind of okay. But I have watched the Giants win 3 World Series at the Peaks, because once you win the Giants,
You got to keep going back.
Yeah, you go back every fucking time. I don't care what else is different. I'm going to the same bar to watch them win the World Series. It's
I actually
worked
love
every time.
In Noe Valley. I love the it's like what, the Valley Tavern now or whatever.
Yeah. It used to be the Rat and Raven,
yeah,
and then
like-
it was Coyote Lounge, and
Like
now
back when it was Rat and Raven, like the back the back sort of hill behind that place.
yeah,
was
that
really cool.
backyard there at the Valley Tavern is great.
Yeah, I love that.
Although I'm sure it's like a shit show on the weekends.
The other one
Probably.
I'm going to call out is the what it used to be like O'Greenberg's.
Oh yeah, on Dolores. What's it
Yeah,
now?
now it's called the Dolores Corner.
Starring Ben Stiller.
And I love that because the manager, or the assistant manager, whatever now, used to be the manager from the Peaks. And
Oh, okay.
she has that like classic, if you buy 2 or 3 drinks, you get a drink back. Which a lot of bars aren't doing anymore.
Right.
I know. It's true.
And also, she loves me for reasons I can't articulate or even understand. But
Don't question. Just go
But
forward
she
with
just
it.
keeps handing me whiskey until I fall down.
Right.
And I love Rose for that.
So yeah, actually that's a great bar. Like, although O'Greenberg's, it's like the Irish Jewish bar.
Yeah.
It's like
Random.
Juan Epstein, the Puerto Rican Jew. Do we have anything else?
No, wrap it up.
I think we're good. Steve, thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me
coming
back
in
again.
late.
Thank you so much for everything.
We look forward to like hearing our episode on Radio Valencia, and this will be up pretty soon.
Cool.
So do you want to give like a final thumbs up or thumbs down to this place? I know it's so hard for you because the attic was for you.
I love the attic. I'm going to give a final thumbs up to this place because the woman who runs it is so fucking nice. I can't.
Cool. I'm
No,
glad to hear that actually. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I asked the bartender if she owned any other bars, and he's like, "No, it's her first bar." So
It's her first
good for
bar.
her.
She's probably spent $500,000 to make this place decent.
Yeah,
And you should come here.
yeah. They
all they
$500,000.
need to do is
all
have
them
a-
Clorox.
If I could get a fucking $3 martini here, I would be here every fucking day.
those days are gone, man. I hate to say, the $3 martini, like that's like science fiction in San Francisco.
Looks like the favelas in Colombia, like that kind of deal.
Exactly. All right, Steve, thank you for being on. Andrew, you got anything else?
No.
Wait,
done.
did you guys do the
Oh,
up or
well,
down on
we're
this
we
piece?
are we're already we're kind of like we're half up.
I missed
giving
it.
a
What
mostly
was it?
thumbs up.
Well, yeah, like basically we said, like I was like, you know what, I like it. It's comfortable. But
It won me around after my initial bad taste.
it's-
But you know what? Like it's a decent space no matter what you do.
It's
almost.
definitely for me. It's got that like brand new bar smell to it. So it's like it doesn't have a whole lot of character just yet.
Yeah.
So, but give it a few years, like
She's gonna fail. I'm sorry.
Oh.
She's
We'll
gonna
cut-
fail.
don't worry, we'll cut that
and
out.
then somebody else will pick it up,
Right.
and then that will probably succeed.
One of the Bon Vivant guys will probably call it Muppet Show the Bar for
It
a
totally
year
sucks
and then
'cause,
have
like-
to change it.
It totally sucks because like you and like the Yelp review we read is like, oh, the owner is such a great person, and they were like, yeah, she's gonna fail. It's like wait, in order for this place to make it, it's got to be run by some scumbag.
Pretty much.
It's like, you
at
can't
this
be
point.
you can't be a nice person and run a bar.
You don't have a $25 bowl of shrimp fried rice on the menu, you're gonna fail.
All right, this is SF Barkast. Steve, thank you.
Thank you, Barcast.
I'm Jeff Cleary,
I made it louder.
and we'll see you next time.